So for today's card project, I am making a card inspired by that card that we just showed, made by Kim Burkhard. And she had used some Pixi Dust Design items, but I am inspired by the yellow, orange, pink, and green colors in that card. So creating my card based off of that. And this is a new feature that we'll be doing monthly. So to get started, I cut out, and this is the Calla Lillie die, and it's a new die set from Pixi Dust Designs. So I started out using Tiara by Catherine Pooler, and I am ink blending on all of the parts. And so to get that on the Wish, she had done a yellow and then a graduation into orange. I'm going to ink blend in some pink, because pink and yellow make an orangish. I don't quite want, I suppose, more peach. I don't quite want a full-on orange, but I definitely wanted to get in that tone. And if you'll notice, I'm going darker on some parts and lighter on others just to get that graduation as well in color. So ink blending over all of the different little parts. So there's two different Calla Lillie flowers and two different stem types in this kit. And it's in this die set, I should say. And so I'm doing 2 of each. I only end up using 3 in my project, but I'm making 2 of each just in case, because you want extras. You don't want to have to go back and make more. So ink blending over both kinds of Calla Lilies. And then there's also a center for the Calla Lilies as well. So you've got the Calla Lillie leaf base, and then you've got the main flower, which is what I'm ink blending on right now. And then you've got the add-on flowers, so it adds a little dimension where the Calla Lillie folds over, pardon me, and then you have the stamen that you glue, the center part of the flower as well. So there is the ink blending on the flowers, and now I'm just doing the stamens real quick, using a little glitz. And then I decided I wanted just a little bit more, so I'm using a red. It's kind of a peachy red or an orangey red to add a little accents around where the center of the flower is. And so I did that with that Copic marker, and now I'm ink blending using spruce ink around the flower stems, and then there's additional leaves that you can add on as well. So I finished ink blending everything, and now it's time to assemble. So I've got the the petals that fold over, adding those on to my flower base, and adding on the stamen, and then we'll add on the other folding over petal. So that's how you assemble the flower portion, and then you'll see you've got the whole flower on the stem that you can add to it. I had trimmed off the leaf off of this because the leaves were getting covered anyway, as you can see. So that pink wrap is the new bouquet wrap from Pixi Dust Designs, and it's really versatile. So I'm using it this way, but I also cut the top part off and used it as, like, you know, when you get a plant and you have that foil wrapped around a base. I created it just like that on a different card that you'll see on the Pixi Dust blog at some point. And it's really nice. Or you could inlay die cut into that bouquet wrap as well and do that. So assembling the other kind of flower, which, as you can see, it's not any different. It's just the shape's a little bit different. And I left the leaf on this one, and I think I do end up cutting it off. And this is the favorite. I prefer this shape over the other one. I can't tell you why, but I do. And I just realized I glued this onto the wrong base. So I glued it onto the right base after that. So these are the foliage dies. This is part of the new release. So cut these out as additional greenery for the background. But the ones that kind of look like eucalyptus coming up the back, on a different card that I'll share in the blog as well, I cut the top part off and added purple, and it looked like lavender or sage, and it was beautiful. So that card will be on the blog at some point as well. So look forward to that. If you're not a subscriber to Pixi Dust's blog, please. It's the Pixi Dust VIP Facebook page, I should say. Not blog, I'm sorry. I kept saying blog. It's the Facebook page. So now the new bow set, which comes with the bouquet wrap, and let me tell you, this bow set will be used for Christmas cards because it's fantastic. It comes with the base layer, and then you can add pieces onto it for dimension, and then you also have the outline. So I'm doing this in Tiara and a little glitz from Catherine Pooler to get different dimension. So I got everything ink blended, and then just adding a little depth at the tips using glitz. So started out with Tiara, now I'm adding glitz. So this bow is worth it. And then you also get that beautiful paper wrap for any time you do a floral bouquet. It's fantastic. So now I'm going to be gluing on parts of the bow. I've got the outline now. So gluing that down. It's so funny that I'm wearing a flannel shirt on the day I created this, and now, what, 4 days later, I'm doing the voiceover and it's 95 degrees. Just crazy spring weather in Minnesota. So got that down, and now I'm going to do the inlay die cutting with all of the bow parts and pieces. And it was really quick and easy to get this built. And the pieces aren't, there's a couple tiny ones, but they're not so small that even like I have RA, it was easy for me to pick them up and put them in there. Except for those little bitty ones. So it came together pretty quickly. And I do want to say this bow, you know, you have the ribbons hanging down. If you don't do the long hanging down pieces, if you trim it, the bow is still darling with that part being trimmed off. So it's got two, so if you want it to be in a present or something and not have the long ribbons, there, you know, if you go up from the bottom and there's one piece inserted, then a second piece, if you cut right above where that second piece is inserted, the bow is adorable. It just, with that, it's just got the short little tails then instead of the long tails. So I did use that, and you'll see that card on the, I'm going to say blog again, and that's right, on the Facebook page. It's because I've been blogging all day, getting blog posts ready for July. So finishing up adding the pieces for the bow and letting that dry. And then I wanted just a little more color in the middle. So I'm taking glitz and doing it just around the center of the bow. Okay, so I glued the flowers down. I've glued the bow on top of the flower, or set it there so I know what I want. So now I've got some Lawn Fawn Butcher's Twine in the pale pink. So it's pale pink and white. Goes perfect with the flower wrap. And tied that onto the tag. And the tag, I use Spellbinder's Scallop Labels and tag. And then the thank you is from Simon Says Stamp. I believe it's the Happy Hello die set. And then, so I glued the tag down, glued the bow down, and now I'm putting down some yellow cardstock. And that is from, trying to think, it's from Cut Cardstock, and I believe it's called Sunflower. And then the next layer that I'm putting down is, it's called Habanero from Cut Cardstock. And I do want to say, I thought it was a little flat, so off camera I did go ahead and ink blend around the edges, taped off the edges, and then ink blended around the habanero cardstock just to add some depth. So the final photos, it'll show the ink blending. So we're letting that dry for a second. Not sure why I left that in. And now a lot of the designers tilted the bouquet, and that looks adorable tilted, I'm not going to lie. But I wanted it straight up and down. And then these glue dots that I'm using are repositional, so they'll come off because I put a magnet on the back so that people can put this on their fridge if they choose to. Because this thank you went, I'll show you the project at the end, and it's on my other video for the month. I did a little treat bag, and this thank you went in that treat bag. So it's something that people can put on their fridge. It's just a little memento from the baby shower we did for my niece-in-law. So adding that onto the card, and I wanted it straight up and down. But I again, some of the designers did it tilted, and it's adorable tilted. And then I am coming in with my Valencia sequins for a little bit of sparkle. And that'll finish the card. Thanks so much for joining us. Here are the 2 designs I made. Have a great day.